All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night. It is your host, Yuji. Welcome to Yuji's Garage. And welcome, more importantly, to another fine episode of Corsa Talks. The show where you come to my online garage over YouTube and I discuss news, upcoming events, history, and automotive performance with you guys, all while I'm playing Assetto Corsa. Now, I'm glad we can all gather here today. I feel like today is a very important topic that I'd love to discuss with you guys. And it's going to be V6 muscle cars. Now, I know initially you may be thinking, well, what's the issue with V6 muscle cars? It's still a car. It's still the same body. It's still the yada yada yada. Now, which, guys, wouldn't be wrong. Okay, I'm not here to slack on V6 muscle cars completely. I'm more so here to talk about what purpose they serve, why people buy them, and why you shouldn't buy them. Now, let's start with the purpose they serve, right? I feel like that's a good starting point. And the purpose they serve is to bridge the gap between the EcoBoost and the V8s. Understandable, right? You know, it's for those people that kind of want a little more oomph in the car they bought, can't afford the V8, maybe don't want to pay for the V8 gas mileage, you know, because realistically, anyone that owns a V8, they know it's not fun. And that's understandable. You know, I have a V8 myself. I drive a 2012 SS. And let me tell you, $80 every couple days ain't great. Okay, I see why people don't want to buy those cars. But that kind of leads into a counterpoint. If you don't want to pay that money, why even consider the car in the first place? Because if you really just wanted gas mileage, right? You want that MPG, you know, you want that smooth ride with the same look of the car, go buy an EcoBoost. Just realistically, and I know a lot of people don't like EcoBoost, but they serve more of a purpose as a real car, in my opinion, than the V6s do. And it's me being honest, me being realistic. There's no bias here either. I've never owned an EcoBoost. I've owned an inline 4. I've owned a V6. I had a G35 sedan before my SS. And let me tell you, I loved having a V6. It was fun. It felt like a perfect mix of power to weight. It felt like a great car, but that's because I bought a car that was meant to come with the V6. Where in the world does it say that muscle cars were meant to come with V6s? And before anyone goes to fact check me or history check me, I know all about the history, well, most of the history. I'm not going to say all about it. I know about the history of muscle cars in general. Pony cars, the gas crisis. Like, I know about history, okay? I'm not saying that they were never intended to be in those cars, because then we wouldn't have people who bought them. They wouldn't have spent all that money engineering those cars to have V6s. But it's more like, when you think of a muscle car, right? Groggy, deep sounding, rumbling V8, maybe a cam. Your mind doesn't go to V6, does it? No, it doesn't. And you know it. Don't lie. You know it doesn't go to V6. It goes to V8. It just makes sense. It's bread and butter, peanut butter and jelly. That's how the muscle cars were made to be, and that's how they were made to be driven. So when you go out and you buy a V6 muscle car, it's almost like an insult to some people. And I kind of understand that insult, you know, being someone who really considered buying a V6 at one point. Now, like I said, they do serve their purpose. I know cars like the V6 1 Elite package on the newer Camaros, when they were dropping those, they were pretty good track cars, right? There's some muscle car V6 packages that were made to be tracked because they weigh less, might be able to handle a little better because they weigh less. You're not spending as much gas to track. Like, you understand it, right? It sounds good on paper. But then you think, well, if I'm going to go to a track and I want a V6 car that handles really good, why don't I go buy a car that was specifically designed to hold a V6 that's meant to go on the track? A more fitting chassis, better suspension. Like, you're going to go look for cars that were made to drive on those tracks with those engines, with those configurations. Why in the world are we gonna go force V6s into V8 chassis and kind of, I don't want to say taint muscle car names, but come on now, let's be honest. Like, Every other muscle car, well, every other shell of a muscle car you see on the road nowadays is, what is it? It's typically an EcoBoost or a V6, right? Right, I thought so. It just, when you look at it on paper, overall, you have a car that cuts out the price of the gas, gives you the same look, handles relatively, nicer, weighs less, isn't as loud, like everything you want that you think you would compromise on a V6 for, it comes in an EcoBoost. What's the point of spending your money to buy a V6 to make it look like a V8? You could have used all that money you're using to make it look like a V8 to buy an actual V8. And like I said, I know some people have a weird fetish for V6s, especially the Mopar guys. They love buying V6s to make it look like V8s. Cool, whatever, right? That I don't know, to each their own, and I'm not one to spew negativity out there. I'm not trying to say people aren't allowed to buy V6 muscle cars. It's more so I kind of want you guys that do own them, the newer V6 muscle cars. This doesn't really apply to 2000s to like 2010s muscle cars because they didn't have an EcoBoost option. It was kind of just you either get the V6 because that's all you can afford, or it was given to you, or whatever the case may be, or you buy the V8. There wasn't really much in between, but it was also easier to get a V8 back then, and I understand that. And that leads me to another point. The money you spend buying a V6, make it sound like a V8 when you're typing up, exhausted, make my V6 Mustang sound like a V8. When you're looking that up, you should also go look up the cost to supercharge a 4.6, or the cost to just throw a Whipple on a first-gen Coyote versus spending all that money on a V6 Mustang. Like, there's other alternatives. I've seen some pro-charged 4th-gen Camaros that rip everywhere they go. And that's the 4th gen. That's not even like a 3rd gen or a 5th gen. That's 4th gen, man. That's saying something. Those 4th gens rip. I need to stop sleeping on 4th gens. But that's besides the point. Those early V6s to V8 comparisons, those made sense. That was all you could settle for. There weren't EcoBoosts. But the minute EcoBoost came out, revolutionized muscle cars. There's a reason why so many people buy them. You got to think objectively here. There's a reason people like EcoBoost, because it's everything the V6 was supposed to be for cheaper, for even cheaper. And people need to realize that. Like, that's just how the game is played. There's a reason V6s aren't as manufactured, and manufacturers don't spend money on them that much anymore. They're kind of obsolete. And if I'm being honest, you should probably get rid of your V6 if you have one. Not because, I don't want you to enjoy your car. I don't think you should own a V6 muscle car. I never said that. I said, look, there's pros and there's cons. But the cons are definitely outweighing the pros on every front. Like, just realistically here. Because at some point, when they stop making V6s, granted, yeah, they made enough for them to keep up with maintenance for a while. But think about when they're not doing that anymore. How expensive it's going to be to just own a V6. As if it wasn't expensive already. Like, it's just pointless, in my opinion. Like I said, not saying anybody shouldn't own one. That's what you really want. Go out and buy it. Your money, not mine. But I'm going to give you a perspective on it that maybe you didn't want to acknowledge or nobody ever told you about. It's just kind of not logical to buy a V6 anymore. Like I said, if it's all you can afford, maybe look into buying a different car, at least for the time being. You may really want the shell, but you can always save. Saving money never hurt anybody. Saving money will get you the car you want, okay? Give it time. How would I know? Like I said, I went from a 4-banger to a G37 to an SS just from saving money. Literally all I did to get to this point was just save my money. That's all it takes, guys. It doesn't take that much. People kind of blow the price of owning a V8 out of the water because they think it's so expensive to own and maintain. Nah, dude. These new V8 platforms are so simple that it's actually crazy. The LT4s, I wouldn't really say they're simple. 5.0s, I've worked on a few. They're not super bad. They got a couple bad issues here and there, but overall, not horrible. LT's kind of simple, but I'd say a 5.0 is simpler to work on than an LT. Now, I say an LS is definitely more simple to work on than both of them. How do I know that? I own an LS. But granted, also never worked on an LT. Just seeing people do it doesn't seem fun. But, guys, just consider it. You know, that's kind of all I'm saying here. Consider spending your money that you're thinking about putting into your V6 somewhere else. A different car, a better handling car, a more purpose-oriented car than what you have now. Like I said, nothing wrong with owning a V6. There's just better alternatives out there, and we all know it. So, don't get mad at me. Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just a guy on YouTube telling you my thoughts, okay? But let me know if you want to hear more on this topic. You want to hear more of my thoughts. Let me know if you want to hear me talk about other trim levels of other cars. Kind of the same scenario, like BMWs. BMWs would be a really fun video. I might do that one myself without suggestions because I think BMW trims were really stupid. But, once again, thank you all for watching. Thanks for tuning in to Corsa Talks. I'm Yuji. Thanks for stopping by my garage. I'll see you guys in the next video. Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully next week. Maybe next year. Thanks, guys.